Welcome back to another first impression, this time for the anime Hero Without a Class. Who even needs skills? Another from any list. In a world where one's class determines everything, Aurel, the son of a sword princess and archmage, was expected to inherit greatness. But when he discovers he's classless, everything changes. Now he is determined to prove that hard work and dedication are enough to not just succeed, but to excel as an adventurer. So I watched the first 3 episodes. This show is a fantasy. It is not an isekai, even though you would assume it could be, but it is not. And our main character, Aurel, which is in the background, he does not have a class. So in this world, there are 2 things that the goddess provides you. One of them is a class. Whenever you reach a certain age, everyone comes around. There's someone coming in, I believe a priest or so. And he, with the help of his connection with the goddess, is then more or less showing you what your class is. Now, this class does not need to be combat oriented. It could be production class like a smith, it could be like a driver, a merchant, or like a swordsman, an archmage, whatever. Now, there seems to be like basic classes and advanced classes. We have his mom is a sword princess, and his dad is an archmage. Both of them pretty high advanced classes. In what way, we don't really know. We only know they are pretty famous. And in this ritual, more or less, our main character Aurel doesn't get a class. He is classless. Now, the concept is not necessarily new, but the concept has potential. Now, I feel like they use it fine. Some parts are good, some parts okay, are not fleshed out yet. 3 episodes in. Now, Aurel, since he was a child, he was training with his mom, the sword princess, and doing like normal sword training. You know, the ones you see swing the sword 1,000 times, whatever. We don't really know what exactly he was training, but he was training a lot. Now, as he got his classless job, more or less, other people got like a swordsman job. Now, we see him fight one of those kids pretty early on that had a swordsman class, and because he had a swordsman class, he got a couple buffs. One of them was swordsmanship. So they, even though they did not train, they were pretty proficient at using the sword. They were not great, but they could use it pretty well. Now, Aurel, because he trains his whole life, he is pretty good at the sword. Now, what exactly the difference is, we don't really know. We also don't really know what it means to be classless, because the priest, I believe it was a priest, whoever was doing the rituals for all the children and, you know, showed them their jobs, he said, oh, I don't see anything. Whenever he would show them their class, he would see what they see. And he was like, I don't see anything. Oh, this is something I know. This is a classless job, which means it is somewhat rare to be classless. So we don't really know what it means. It could be one of those typical things where you have unlimited potential because you are not ham-fisted into a class. But this is one of the parts that is not fleshed out well. Because it would be nice if in this world, if you have a class like a swordsman, you are more or less forced into swordsman-like skills. You cannot be proficient in magic because you are a swordsman, unless you may go into the sword magic or magic swordsman, whatever, if that exists. It was not really explained. However, our main guy, he is able to use skills. Now, he's not just able to use skills, willy-nilly. He has to train for that. And he's able to do stuff that the normal skills cannot. Now, at the beginning, it was used well. At very early on, there was a skill showcase that was like a twin strike. He sees someone else using it. The other person was just swinging down the sword and bam, 2 strikes appear and hit him. Now, he was able to replicate that skill. That is probably the main, draw of the show, that he's able to use skills that he should not be able to use. But instead of just swinging down the sword and the twin strike appearing, he has to swing his sword quickly twice to do a twin strike, which I feel like is a really nice idea. Because in this way, yes, you can use this skill, you need to train, you need to be most likely stronger and faster than the other person that had the skill inherently, and you more or less imitate the skill. You don't really use the skill, you do something that is very similar and in essence looks the same, but is not really the skill, which allows him to also modify the skill, which is also interesting. Now, how he modifies it, it's going to be a little bit spoiler, but he's going to add a third strike, which makes sense. Animation-wise, as he showcased it the first time, there was not a third strike for the animation, which is a little bit, a little animation error. But as the second time he showed it, there was a third strike. And I do like that. I like that idea that he's able to imitate these skills and more or less, replicate them. Even though not 100%, but they are close enough. Later on, though, it feels like he's able to just replicate skills pretty easily. We will have to see if that continues or it was just a one-off. But you can get into a really uninteresting part of the story where he just is able to instantly learn skills, which would be meh. He was able to learn other skills, but it took him like 5 years training with his mom. And again, if that takes some time, I do like the idea that he's just able to train so hard that he's able to imitate these skills. Not necessarily copy them, but do something that is very similar. We saw him do more or less explain this with another skill later on. Again, there was one skill he was just able to replicate or imitate really quickly. Again, have to see if that is a one-off. Naturally, we also have 2 girls in the show because merchandise, I guess. I don't know. Now these girls, they were fine. They were fine. You have someone who's more opportunistic, but she's also able to fight. We did not see this in the first 3 episodes. And then someone who was able to fight, which is nice. Okay. We will have to see. We are mostly focused on our main character at the moment, and our main character I do like quite a bit. He seems to be not very interested in stuff. He was never really interested in getting a class. He was not interested in most other stuff. He was only interested, hey, I'm going to train, I'm going to get stronger, and that is all he is interested in, seemingly. He does have some emotions, especially around his family. But outside, he feels a little bit deadpan. At least his face. However, I do like him quite a bit because he's pretty confident in his abilities. He's just willing to train. He's not overly, he's not overly nice or sweet. He's just a normal dude. He wants to train. We saw whenever this character, the blonde one, appears, she wanted to throw herself at him, and he was just dodging her because he's not interested. He is just instinctively evading her, and he's just straightforward. Hey, I'm here to train. I'm trying to be stronger, and I want to see new skills and stronger opponents to potentially learn from them. And I do not really care about much else at the moment, which I do appreciate. Now, in the first 3 episodes, we go from like a shy to like a teenager, and the opening and ending seem to indicate that we, in the 12 episodes, go into later stages in his age. So we may potentially do another like 3 or 4 years time skip. Overall, I have to say, this seems pretty okay. Seems fine. We will have to see how it continues. It can devolve into, hey, he sees a new skill, bam, he learns new skill. Or if they continue that he's able to train hard enough to then copy skills. It takes a while, but he can at least try to imitate skills. Now, I would have liked him to be able to imitate some magic, because his father is an archmage. But at the moment, it seems like we don't do that. Could have been a cool idea. Again, we don't really know much about the system. There is no real explanation why he's able to do these, skills, why he's able to imitate them. Are other people able to imitate the same? Or is it just him being able because he's classless? We don't really know. Again, I would have liked some kind of explanation. Hey, swordsmen can't use magic or stuff, which in turn could give him the opportunity to do something like dual classing, which maybe other classes or other people cannot do, which would be fun. Being like the only magic swordsman in the world would be an interesting take. At the moment, it feels like we are going into the hey, we are going to grow stronger, we are going to be the strongest. We will see. He does train though. It's not like he gets everything served on a platter, and it's not like he's instantly OP. He seems to be strong. But we will have to see. Now, I do want to show a clip. This is one of the early fights, just for some animation. Okay. I mean, that was fine. That looked okay. Can't really show more because copyright, and we will see. Ratings. Annual list 61 to 62%. My anime list 6.54, but only 3.5k users. I would say it's a 7 out of 10. It seems fine. There could be potential, but I feel like it is going to be evolving into like a power fantasy from this point on. However, I can be wrong.